Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Griffin.
Here.
Bishop. Conwell. Gray. Hairston. Harsh. House Jones. Jones. Casey. Kelly. Moorer. McCormack. Polensik. Santana. Slife. Spencer. Starr. Where's Slife? Spencer. Okay. You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. Will everyone rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll make the following statement. This meeting of Cleveland City Council is a lawful meeting. Under Section 605.04 of the Codified Ordinances, no person with purpose to prevent or disrupt the lawful meeting shall do any act which obstructs or interferes with the due conduct of such meeting. Members of the public are invited to speak only under the rules set by this council. Disruptions, including but not limited to speaking out of turn and making loud noises and loud utterances, are in violation of the rules and interfere with the due conduct of this lawful meeting. Such disruptions may constitute a misdemeanor and a violation of Section 605.04. Anyone who disrupts this lawful meeting in violation of the codified ordinances commits misdemeanors and is subject to prosecution. The following is the first and only warning. If this meeting is disrupted, I will gavel a halt to the proceedings and direct the assembled officers to escort any person participating in this disruption out of the chamber. Once persons participating in the disruption are outside of the chambers, the officers will close the doors, and the disruptors will be handled as directed by the Director of Public Safety. The council proceedings will not begin again until those that participated in the disruption have left the chamber and the chamber doors are closed. Disruptors will not be allowed back in the chamber after the meeting resumes. Again, this is the first and only warning. Madam Clerk, please dispense with the journal.
By Councilmember Jones, that the reading of the minutes of the last meeting be dispensed with, the journal approved. Seconded by Councilmember Casey.
Thank you. We'll now move to public comment. I want to remind all council members to turn your chairs around to face the speakers, and I want to make sure that the speakers remember, acknowledge the time that you have in front of you. When you see the yellow light comes up, that means to wrap it up, and when it turns red, that means that you are out of time and you need to stop remarks. First person that we have is Brenda Bickerstaff from Ward 9 to talk about homeless policy. She is representing Citizens for a Safer Cleveland and not being paid by anyone. Ms. Bickerstaff, you have the floor.
Good evening, Council. I want to say something for the record. Brenda Bickerstaff, I live in Cleveland, Ohio. I want to make a record. For 3 weeks straight, I put in for public comment with Daryl Houston, and he's been denied his constitutional right to speak. That's not the way that works here. For 3 weeks straight, I put it in exactly 12 o'clock, and I have the proof that I did that. So let me move on to my next comment about the homeless. It's a lot of homeless out here, a lot. I've had some homeless people sleep in one of my lots. The issue that I have here, we have abandoned houses around the city. Some of those houses, Mr. Starr, are in good condition. They just need to be rehabbed. I talked to a gentleman that does demolition, and he said it costs about $15,000 or $20,000, Joe Jones, to tear a house down. So why can't we take the $15,000 or $20,000, rehab the house, get some social workers to go in those houses to be case managers for people that have issues, for mental health issues, because that's a big issue with among the homeless. I've even had clients that were homeless. So we need to really dig into that. We really need to look into that, because that is a big, big issue. So at this point, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to give my other minute and a half to Mr. Houston.
That is not the rules, Ms. Bickerstaff. Mr. Houston would have to sign up for it.
The rules
we have
are clear,
a strict
sir.
set of rules.
The rules are clear.
And we're going to move to the next set. We have the next person will be up. Ms. Bickerstaff, if you're yielding your time, We will go to the next person in line. This council has a set of rules that we're going to follow. This council has a set of rules that we're going to follow. If you continue to disrupt the meeting, I am going to ask the police officers assembled to escort you away from the mic. You are not on the agenda. Please remove yourself from the mic. We have a set of rules that we're going to follow. We're going to have a set of rules that we're going to follow. This council has a set of rules that we're going to follow that we're going to follow. And I'm going to ask if you follow those rules. Ms. Bickerstaff, we'll talk with our staff, but you are not on the mic anymore right now. Please remove yourself from the mic. Please remove yourself from the mic. Thank you. Please remove yourself. Please remove them from the mic. Please remove yourself from the mic. Thank you. Please remove yourself from the mic. All right, thank you. Next, we have Reverend Pamela Pinckney. Pamela Pinckney is from Cleveland. The topic is policing. She is not representing anyone, and she's not being paid by anyone. Reverend Pinckney has the floor. Thank you. Reverend Pinckney, you have the floor. Thank you.
That's wrong, though, Mr. Griffin. That's wrong.
Thank you.
You put these officers in a bad position.
Ms. Pinckney, you have the floor.
You put these officers in a bad position.
We support the blue. We support the blue.
That's wrong, Mr. Griffin, and you know it.
We support the blue.
Reverend Pinckney, you have the floor. Thank you.
That's wrong, Mr. Griffin. Excuse me.
We support the blue.
Reverend Pinckney, you have the floor. Please acknowledge your time.
Good
Thank
evening. Before I get to what I would like to talk about this evening in terms of policing, I've been saying from 8 to 10 years now that we need to change the name of our football team to reflect victory. And I suggest the Overcomers, it's time to change that. And I want to invite you, Council President Griffin and the Mayor, to our Women's March, which is November 2nd, and everyone in this room at the Market Square at 12 noon. It's the National Women's March in the Cleveland chapter. I'm here this evening to address policing. I would like to see the police and the community have a conversation, Council President, if that's at all possible, so that we could have some understanding of not only the rules and the laws, but to eliminate the fear that the people have of the police and that the police have of the people. On this coming Thursday marks the 22-year anniversary of the day that law enforcement officers violated my protection order, and my son, who was 5 years old, is sitting right now in Cuyahoga County Jail, being abused. I would like this legislative body to begin to put in writing legislation, excuse me, sir, put in writing in legislation laws that would eliminate we people who are black, brown, and multiracial being murdered and mistreated by the police, and the rules to not be civil and procedural for them to do this. When the Cleveland police beat me up and dragged me down the street, they called me a mentally ill one and said, and Internal Affairs said that that was civil and procedural. It's time to address people of color, black, brown, and multiracial, as people. And law enforcement must be able to do this. But we need effective legislation to do this. It's time for women to stop being murdered and being labeled with mental illness and other things. I was homeless for 22 years behind this situation until 5 months ago. I'm not mentally ill. I was homeless, fleeing for my life and the lives of my 4 children through domestic violence. We need a conversation. I see that legislation that you have this evening, 939 through 945, is all for the police. I don't see anything that gives people the opportunity to have a communication with the police to make it fair and equal so we can eliminate the fear. Please write some legislation that the courts and the executive body of government will honor and fulfill for we people of color, black, brown, and multiracial. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Stephanie Webb from Ward 11. Stephanie's here to talk about the empty CVS, not representing anyone, not being paid by anyone. Stephanie, you have the floor.
Good evening, council members, people of the audience. My name is Stephanie, and I'm here to voice my support of the rezoning of 10022 Madison Avenue. I think it's apparent from previous supportive statements that we are welcoming growth via gained tax revenue, increasing employment opportunities, and a larger volume of foot traffic. But today I'd like to touch on the morale of a dying community. An area once filled with promise of development that is now riddled with streets that go dark after 7 p.m. and increasing numbers of abandoned buildings. I recently attended a gathering of both sides, both for and against this project. Statements on signs read, "More grass, less gas," and "Protect our children." These people were coming from areas that won't even be directly impacted from this project. Not one person that I spoke with was from my neighborhood. People who don't have children or families that walk our neighborhood daily. Families that are reminded every day that our city currently has no plans of its own for development, no improvements, nothing. But these developers do. Developers who could take their business and their planning to areas that are already thriving. These people have a vision. They have plans, not to gentrify and push out our local residents, but a plan to bring revenue and growth, offering a well-lit area that people can feel safe both walking and driving past after nightfall. I once was a single mother who used to have to travel to and from work using public transportation from the neighboring rapid station there. I remember when this corner went dark, and I can recall feeling unsafe walking past that abandoned building. Our residents have lost hope in a way that they have become comfortable traveling outside of their own community for convenience. We aren't pouring revenue into our neighborhood, and we aren't watering our own back garden. I spoke with some of the businessmen wanting to develop this property. They're family-oriented, planted in local communities with children of their own that they're raising that want to see our forgotten neighborhoods revived. They want to bring life to this desolate area. Please support Councilman Kelly in his support for the rezoning of this property. Fill our abandoned buildings. Give hope to these residents. Give value back to our land. Let our children see that we as parents and you as the councilman appointed by us are making sound and solid decisions for the overall improvement of our future and quality of life. It's more than just about a gas station. Please bring back the hope that we once had for this beautiful neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Sandy Also. Sandy Also is from Ward 11. Sandy's here to talk about the empty CVS. Sandy is not representing anyone, not being paid by anyone. Sandy, you have the floor.
Good evening, Council, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I want to begin by stating that I am in favor of the rezoning of 10022 Madison Avenue. However, I also want to address the unfortunate tactics being employed by those who oppose the project. First, intimidation and misinformation. The opposition has resorted to intimidating neighbors and who support this project, pressuring them to stay silent or stay at home. When supporters do speak up, lies are spread about them, claiming they don't live there in the neighborhood. An example is they've come to our door late at night attempting to force their agenda. They've also spread false rumors that we don't live here, when in fact they are the ones unfamiliar with the area. Number two is there are baseless accusations against council members. Council members who are perceived to support this project have been unjustly labeled as corrupt. An example, a few Arab business owners who have been competitors in this ward for over 20 years are accused of conspiring together simply because they made donations to local politicians. These accusations overlook the fact that these businesses have often disagreed with each other on many other issues. Third, there's stereotyping and discrimination. There's been an attempt to discredit Arab business owners, implying that they shouldn't participate in the democratic process by donating or supporting certain politicians or causes. This is discriminatory and wrong. Fourth, there's been slander against the property owner. The property owner has been unjustly slandered. This individual has lived in Cleveland by choice, building a new home in Ward 17 just 2 years ago, and has committed to the city and has never had any criminal convictions. The opposition doesn't even know who the owner is, making these reckless and defamatory assumptions. This group hides behind organizations that don't legally exist, avoiding accountability for the lies and defamation statements they've spread. I challenge them to step forward, reveal their true identities, and take responsibility for their words. Instead of hiding behind non-existing groups, they should answer for these defamation and at times racist and anti-Semitic comments they've made. Thank you for your time.
Next, we have Rose Cologne. Rose Cologne is from Ward 15. The topic is the empty CVS, representing no one and not being paid by anyone. Rose, is Rose here? Rose Cologne? Is Rose Cologne here? I do not see Rose Cologne. Next, we have Tony Anderson. Tony Anderson is from Ward 15 to talk about the empty CVS. And Tony Anderson is not representing anyone and not being paid by anybody. Tony, you have the floor. Thank you.
Good evening, council members. As a longtime Cleveland resident, I'm here to express my support for both the rezoning efforts and the upcoming school levy. While these may seem like separate issues, they're actually linked in ways that can bring real positive change to our community. Rezoning opens the doors for new businesses and projects that can raise property values and in turn increase property taxes, the primary source of funding for our schools. When we invest in developing our neighborhood, we're investing in our children's future. The proposed project at 10022 Madison Avenue is a great example of how this can work. It has the potential to revitalize our area and provide more resources for our schools. Empty buildings and vacant lots are not just eyesores, they're missed opportunities. By rezoning and encouraging development, we can turn those vacant spaces into revenue generators that can help fund education and improve the overall quality for everyone in the community. Our schools are the heart of this community. They shape our next generation of leaders and contribute to city's long-term success. But quality education requires adequate funding. This levy is crucial to ensure our school remains competitive, fully staffed, and equipped to provide the best possible learning experience for our kids. Rezoning brings development, development raises property values, and higher property value increase school funding. It's all connected. By supporting both the rezoning and the levy, we're paving the way for a stronger, more vibrant community where our children and families can thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Kayla Keith. Kayla Keith is from Ward 11 to talk about the empty CVS, not representing anyone, not being paid by anyone.
I'm mad at you, Blaine.
Is Kayla Keith available? Is Kayla Keith here? All right, next up is Adam Noah. Adam Noah is from Ward 15. Adam's here to talk about the empty CVS. Adam is not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone. Is Adam here?
Hi, I'm here as a concerned resident on Madison and West Boulevard area. I'd like to share a snapshot of the current state of Madison Avenue. While there is only a few small mom and pop shops, there's also no major retail chains along the entire stretch of Madison Avenue. We have no main grocery stores, no main banks, no barbershops, no restaurants, no drugstores, no gas stations, no auto parts stores, no coffee shops, no pizza or burger shops. What we do have is a collection of vacant and rundown buildings, and our current zoning activities and discourage developments, placing unnecessary obstacles in the way of the progress. Why is this a bad idea to encourage the development of the strip center, anchored by major brand retail outlets and major brand gas stations? The only reason it would be bad if we want to maintain the status quo and a landscape of vacancy and I'm here today to ask the council to support the rezoning and redevelopment of 122 Madison Avenue. We are all hopeful that this development will be the catalyst that can encourage more retail growth in the area. Please support us, the residents, along with our councilman, in this effort to rezone and revitalize our neighborhood. Thank you for your time this evening.
Next, we have Jacque Foster. Jacque Foster is from Ward 15 to talk about the empty CVS, not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone. Is Jacque Foster here? Jacque Foster. Jacque Foster going once. Jacque Foster going twice. I do not see Jacque Foster. Next, we have Shajutu Wahid from University Circle. Shajutu is here to talk about crime in Cleveland, not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone.
Hello, my name is Shajuti Wahed, and I'm a student at Case Western Reserve University. I come to you today because of the repression of community voices and leaders who deserve to be heard. I'm the only one out of numerous people who applied for public comment from Crew students, New Era, and Cudell to be selected for public comment today. Last week, somehow the only voices heard were those in support of the gas station, and as Councilmember Slife had mentioned, all were signed up by 2 individuals who dropped forms off. Public comment slots were meant to be a way for people to petition their government and bring forward their concerns, not as an organized lobbying effort by a syndicate of gas station owners hoping to monopolize the discussion and shut out opposing voices. You all have a duty to listen to your community, listen to the concerned parents and residents that would be bringing to you legitimate concerns about the safety of their children had they been given the opportunity to be able to speak in front of you. I also come before you today on behalf of my dear friends and fellow organizers. Yusuf Khalaf is a Palestinian student at Crew that has faced intimidation from our university with repeated student conduct meetings, delays, and ultimately a suspension delaying his graduation. This all comes after his advocacy on campus for Palestinian liberation with others, but he is alone in his suspension. Also, Chairman Fahim is the leader of New Era, and you can ask anyone in Cleveland's neighborhoods about their success in de-escalation and keeping our youth safe. But today, he also faces false charges. These incidents are not unrelated and cannot be viewed separately. Both have shown up for each other, whether it's at our encampment or in our streets. And you'll find it's the very people who are the most passionate, most vocal, and compassionate in making changes alongside their communities that are being silenced. Yusuf and Fahim do this work because they genuinely love our communities. Yusuf is one of the kindest people I know, yet in his Crew hearings, he was described as hostile and is now prevented from continuing to build solidarity on campus. Likewise, Chairman Fahim dedicates his life towards uplifting Cleveland neighborhoods, yet he is now having to deal with these false accusations. The store owner responsible for Fahim's arrest is also the one stacking the deck for public comment to crowd out opposing voices. These issues are all interconnected. And instead, the council would rather allow the very people that just weeks ago made racist comments and monkey noises to a group mostly made up of Black women and children to continue to sit in our council's chambers. It seems as though you value their presence more so than the leaders and community voices who are taking action about the violence we see in our communities and globally. I hope you all deeply reflect on who you do this job for. I hope you genuinely love your communities like these leaders. Please think about who you are supposed to serve and please listen to them. We cannot let the forces that seek to divide us win. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, please share communications.
File number 1085-2024 from Jeffrey B. Marks, Secretary of Board of Control, City of Cleveland. Board of Control Resolution 484-24, amending Board of Control Resolution 377-24 regarding Ordinance 521-2024, establishing new Department of Parks and Recreation and associated divisions. From the Ohio Division of Liquor Control, file number 1086-2024, regarding a new license application at 6200 Brook Park Road, Ward 13.
Are there any condolence resolutions?
Resolutions of condolence by Councilmember Griffin for Samuel J. Thomas, PhD.
Are there any other?
I'm sorry, I still have more. By Councilmember Conwell for Florence Geraldine Hairston. By Councilmember House Jones for Benny Richardson. By Councilmember Santana for Luz Maria Rivera. By Councilmember Jones for Joanne Davis Dawson. By Councilmember Hairston for James Harland. By Councilmember Griffin for Scotty Lindale Sanders. By Councilmember Conwell for Winifred Denson Albert.
Councilman Polisic.
Mr. Chairman, this is for condolences, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, would the clerk please hold out a number for Dan Coughlin? Thank you.
So noted.
Councilman Casey, can you hold out a number for John Amos and Pete Rose? Any other condolences? All council members, please rise for a moment of silence. Thank you. We'll move to congratulatory resolutions.
Resolutions of congratulations by Council Members Griffin and Polensek for American Limousine Services, by Council Members Griffin and Polensek for Senator Jerry C. Serino, by Council Members Griffin and Polensek for O.A. Burton Company, by Council Members Griffin and Polensek for Raymond Guarino, by Council Member Gray for Second New Hope Baptist Church. Resolutions of recognition by Council Member Starr for University Settlement, by Council Member Starr for NorAm Cold Storage, by Council Member Casey for Cleveland Down Syndrome Day, by Council Member Casey for Credessa Croce, by Council Member Casey for Mary Kidd, by Council Member Casey for Olivia DePiro, by Councilmember Casey for Catherine Koenig.
All right, thank you. We'll now move to presentations. I believe Councilman Casey has a presentation. Do you have a guest, Councilman? Can we open up the well for the councilman's guest? And Councilman, if you could assume your area. Please join us, whoever he's inviting, if you could join us up here.
All right. Good evening, Council President, members of Cleveland City Council, administration, and our guests. I'd invite the mayor, but he's not here. October is National Down Syndrome Awareness Month, and every October we celebrate Down syndrome in the city of Cleveland. This is the 11th annual can you believe that, Tony? It's the 11th annual already Down Syndrome Day in the city of Cleveland, which is Friday, October 12th, which is actual Down Syndrome Day in the city of Cleveland. So this year we have some very special individuals who are huge advocates of individuals with Down syndrome and all disabilities. But we first want to start with a lady who has been leading the charge with what used to be called the Upside of Downs, but it has since been changed to DSANIO, which is the Down Syndrome Association of Northeast Ohio. So Tony, if you want to come up here, Tony Malie, we have a recognition. I don't want to read the whole thing because we have 5 or 6 of these to do, but congratulations on leading the executive director of the Down Syndrome Association of Northeast Ohio. On behalf of Cleveland City Council, congratulations on our 11th Down Syndrome Day in the city of Cleveland. Come on, everybody come in. And then we have some recognitions of some individuals. And I'll read just a couple of these. Whereas members of Cleveland City Council are especially proud and pleased to recognize Credessa Croce, CEO and founder of Credessa's Classy and Cuties Production. You can tell she's all decked out today, and that's how she does it. Who's been demonstrated extraordinary commitment to raising awareness and supporting individuals with Down syndrome and their families through her creative endeavors. Whereas she's inspired by the life of her beloved son, whom is no longer with us, correct? Lavelle Eugene Carson Family Bond, an initiative that celebrates individuals with Down syndrome through fashion shows and community events, empowering participants by providing them with the opportunity to showcase their unique styles, individuality, and joyfulness. And whereas since the inauguration fashion show in October of 2002, Cordessa has continued to expand the event with the number of models and attendees growing each year, reflecting her success in building awareness and fostering inclusivity with the community. Cordessa also is tirelessly advocates, extends beyond her fashion shows as she takes every opportunity to raise awareness through various media outlets, including Down Syndrome Association in Northeast Ohio, Smooth Jazz radio station, Conwell, WJZZ.com, and numerous local programs. Cordessa, it's individuals like you who keep our community together, and we couldn't appreciate you more in all that you do. You want to say something? Are you sure? Okay. All right. Our next one is Mary Kidd, Executive Director of Community Focus, who has demonstrated exceptional leadership and commitment to raising awareness about Down syndrome and supporting the mission of Desanio. Whereas Mary's career with Community Focus began as a college intern, leading her to become the Executive Director in 2019, where she has effectively overseen the nonprofit local origination TV station, which serves Northern Summit County and Aurora, by partnering with schools, governments, etc. Mary's journey towards supporting Down syndrome awareness began with the simple sighting of a buddy walk sign, which we'll get into that later as we celebrate our 25th year, providing valuable media coverage to inform and engage the community. There's a bunch of other things here. Again, so much, Mary, that your advocacy for individuals with Down syndrome through the radio program and everything else, we couldn't be as successful as we are without individuals like you. Thank you very much. And next we have Catherine Koning, PhD, Associate Research Staff in the Department of Imaging Sciences at the Cleveland Clinic and Assistant Professor of Radiology at the Cleveland Clinic Lerner College of Medicine, who has demonstrated exceptional dedication in advocating research and awareness related to Down syndrome and Down syndrome-related Alzheimer's diseases. Whereas Catherine's distinguished academic background, including her PhD in psychology from Case Western and postdoctoral training in MRI physics at the Cleveland Clinic, has positioned her as a leader in using magnetic resonance imaging to study neurodegenerative diseases, with a particular focus on developing non-invasive diagnostic tools for conditions such as multiple sclerosis and Down syndrome-related Alzheimer's diseases. Catherine has made invaluable contributions to the Down syndrome community, inspired by her lifelong connection to her sister, Carrie, who has Down syndrome and has been a guiding force in Catherine's personal and professional advocacy. For the past 9 years, Catherine has served the distinction of the Board of Desanio, contributing her expertise and leadership. Her commitment to Down syndrome awareness extends beyond research as she works closely with medical professionals, caregivers, and individuals with Down syndrome to promote better healthcare outcomes and advocate for greater inclusion. Catherine's dedication supporting Down syndrome community is shared with her sister, Carrie, who has been an advocate member of Desanio, and thank you very much for that, Carrie, and now serves as the Self-Advocate Presentation Board, where individuals with Down syndrome share their personal health care experiences and educate and inform others, furthering the mission of inclusion and empowerment. So thank you so much to Catherine and Carrie. Carrie, did you want to say anything? You want to say something? You want to say something, Carrie?
Thank you very much, both of you.
Nice. There you go. And our last one is Olivia DePure, as we were going over the pronunciations earlier. Olivia is a 27-year-old international model who has become an influential advocate for inclusion and visibility for individuals with Down syndrome through the remarkable modeling career and advocacy efforts. Olivia has Down syndrome, has defied societal expectations by gracing the runways, get this, of New York Fashion Week numerous times and expanding her portfolio to include international appearances in Paris, Milan, Dubai, Miami, Los Angeles, and most recently Bangkok, Thailand, where she was named Model of the Year. Olivia's passion for modeling and advocacy is evident in her dedication in studying and perfecting her craft, ensuring that her visibility on the runway and in the media helps normalize and celebrate the diversity of individuals who are often marginalized as being different. Olivia has been featured in numerous magazine covers and articles, and has received modeling awards from prestigious cities such as London and Dubai, solidifying her reputation as a trailblazer in the fashion industry. Olivia also garnered significant attention for her work in commercials and advertisements, including notable collaborations with Delta Airlines and the Original Mattress Factory, furthering her influence in promoting inclusion and presentation in the media. Olivia's advocacy has earned her recognition as one of the top 85 women in the world in the category of Women Worth Watching in Leadership by Profiles in Diversity magazine. And she is a nominee for the Stiletto Boss Model of the Year in the CLIO Awards for her exceptional contributions of the world to fashion and advocacy. Her passion for advocacy extends beyond the runway, as Olivia has dedicated countless hours to raise funds for cancer research and treatment, having personally raised over $100,000 for cancer related causes and receiving the Presidential Award in Volunteerism and Contributions, making her an inspiring cancer survivor and philanthropical. There's so much more here. Olivia, I don't even know where to start with you, okay? We could go on and on. Olivia is an individual who definitely has broken the mold. She is an individual who has shown people that it is okay to be more alike than different. And Olivia, on behalf of Cleveland City Council, the council president, and all the members of Cleveland City Council, we want to thank you. Who? She's like, who? The big wigs in the city of Cleveland, okay? We want to thank you very much for everything that you've done. All right? Here, you want to say something?
Thank you, everybody. This is my first time here with all you guys here. Thank you out of the bottom of my heart.
Carrie. October 12th is Down Syndrome Day in the city of Cleveland. We'll be flying the flags. When some of you heard about the Down Syndrome Day, just remember the socks are in March because everybody asked about the socks. So we will rock our socks in March. But again, thank you all for everything you do for the world of individuals with Down syndrome. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, first reading emergency ordinances referred for administrative review and committee review.
Ordinance 1077, 2024, by Council Members McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to enter into an amendment to the lease by way of concession with Fraport, Cleveland, for the lease, management, design, and construction of retail merchandise, food, beverage, and service concessions for the Department of Port Control facilities to extend the termination date of the agreement for a period of 1 year. Ordinance 1078, 2024, by Councilmember McCormack, authorizing the Director of Department of Public Works, Division of Recreation, to enter into a grant agreement with Ohio City Incorporated to provide program support for Near West recreation youth programs. Ordinance 1079, 2024, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to enter into one or more contracts without competitive bidding with Windstream Communications, DBA Kinetic Business by Windstream for telecommunications service lines, for primary and backup communications, for SCADA control, security cameras, and telephones at various locations which are outside of Cuyahoga County and beyond the AT&T service area, and to authorize payment of monthly charges to Windstream for a period up to 3 years for the Division of Water, Department of Public Utilities. Ordinance 1080, 2024, by Council by Council Members Palencic, Griffin, and McCormack, to supplement the codified ordinances by amending Section 433.07 as amended, related to street racing. Ordinance 1081, 2024, by Mayor Bibb, to discontinue the Division of Information Technology and Services, the Office of Information Technology Planning, and Office of Urban Analytics and Innovation by repealing various sections of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, to establish the Department of Innovation and Technology, to enact new sections 148.01 to 03, to repeal section 127.12, and to amend section 171.40 of the codified ordinances relating to the foregoing changes.
First reading emergency ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 1082, 2024, by Council Members Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Hairston, Casey, McCormack, Palencic, Santana, and Spencer by departmental request, to amend Section 171.30 of the codified ordinances as amended relating to holidays.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Jones, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Casey.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Palencic, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Palencic, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr.
Thank you. I have two, I believe, people that would like to make comments to that. I believe Councilwoman House Jones and Councilman Brian Casey.
Yeah, I would just like to be added as a sponsor for 1082, please.
Please add Councilwoman.
So noted.
Councilman Bishop.
Mr. President, mark me a no on 1082.
Please mark
So
Councilman
noted.
Bishop as a no. All right. We have the roll. All right, so we got the count?
Yes. 15 yeas, 1 nay.
Okay, thank you. First reading, emergency resolution referred for administrative review and committee review.
Resolution 1084, 2024, by Council Members Starr, Bishop, and Hairston by departmental request, declaring the intent to vacate a portion of Bronson Court Southeast and a portion of East 12th Street.
Read the motion to suspend. First reading, emergency resolutions to be adopted.
Resolution 1083, 2024, by Councilmember Starr, supporting the Citizens Not Politicians Citizens Redistricting Commission initiative, which would transfer the power of drawing legislative and congressional maps from politicians and lobbyists to the citizens of Ohio, and urging Ohioans and Cleveland citizens to support this Issue 1 citizen-led ballot initiative to end partisan gerrymandering in Ohio for a freer, more democratic state.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Jones, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Casey.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 17 yeas.
Call the roll on adoption.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston.
Ms. Spencer, Councilwoman Spencer.
Thank you. Apologies, Mr. Chair. With Councilman Starr's permission, I would like to be added to 1083.
Please add Councilwoman Spencer to
So
1083. All right, thank you.
Griffin,
Anyone else? Okay, please proceed.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 17 yeas.
All right. I did adoption already, didn't I? Okay. Yep. Second reading, emergency ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 934, 2024, as amended. By Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Safety to enter into one or more agreements with the United States Navy or its designee to display 2 bells and another memorabilia of the United States Naval warship, the USS Cleveland, for a period or periods not to exceed a total of 5 years, with one or more options to renew not to exceed a total of 10 years, exercisable by the Director of Public Safety. Ordinance 939, 2024, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Safety to enter into one or more contracts with the International Association of Chiefs of Police to conduct training through a faculty development workshop and to provide mentoring and instruction through leadership in police organization training for the Division of Police Department of Public Safety. Ordinance 941, 2024, as amended, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of hazmat suits for the Division of Emergency Medical Services, Department of Public Safety, for a term of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Public Safety. Ordinance 942, 2024, as amended, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of medical stair chairs for the Division of Emergency Medical Service, Department of Public Safety, for a term of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Public Safety. Ordinance 943, 2024, as amended, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of patient ventilators for the Division of Emergency Medical Service, Department of Public Safety, for a term of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Public Safety. Ordinance 945, 2024, as amended, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of turnout gear for the Division of Fire, Department of Public Safety, for a term of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Public Safety. Ordinance 987, 2024, as amended, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, to amend various sections of Chapter 396 of the Codified Ordinances as enacted by Ordinance 2020-A-96 relating to notification, environmental abatement, and securing of closed or vacated facilities. Ordinance 1008, 2024, as amended, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, to amend Contract 2023-0119 with Axon Enterprise to consolidate various contracts with Axon for purchases and services for the various divisions of the Department of Public Safety.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Jones, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Casey.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 17 yeas.
Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop,
Oh, Councilwoman House Jones. My apologies. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had a question. I don't know if this would be to the chair or the director of public safety. Did Axion provide their subcontractors and the makeup of their workforce for these contracts? We talked about it in public safety. They were supposed to send it by the end of the week. And I'm not sure if it was sent. I have not received it. That was the question.
Chair, do you know if that was sent to you? Axon information with public safety, did they submit the makeup?
Did they make about their subcontractors and the makeup of their workforce when it comes to these contracts?
So they did not send
Okay, mark me as a no, please.
So mark Councilwoman House Jones.
So noted.
All right. Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 17 yeas.
16, is it?
Yeah, no, we have to call the roll.
All right. Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. On 10:08, 16 yeas, 1 nay. On all others, 17.
Thank you. And for the chairs, please make sure whenever anybody asks for information that we follow up on it. I wasn't aware that that ask was out there, but we'll make sure that we follow up on that. All right, we'll move to introductions. Introductions. Do we have any introductions? Any introductions? Councilman Kevin Conwell, introductions.
She's not a stranger here. She's been here before I got here. Frances Caldwell from the Glenville area. Is that the council president over there from East Cleveland? Yeah, stand up and be recognized real quick, too. Get the hat on, man. I beat you to that one, Blaine.
Thank you. All right, any other introductions? Seeing no other introductions, are there any announcements? I do want to make an announcement for those of you, and I apologize to Councilman Starr. I know that all of council wanted to be on 1082, and I know that it was moving kind of fast. But this upcoming Wednesday at 5:30 at the Academy Tavern, we will be having an event that will be a rally to speak out in favor of issue 1. I'm trying to find a flyer. I'll send it to you guys, but 5:30 this Wednesday, the Academy Tavern, 12800 Larchmere Boulevard. The group, Citizens Not Politicians, will be working with us to do a rally that's being hosted by myself and County Executive Chris Ronayne at 5:30, the Academy Tavern, where we're having a rally this upcoming Wednesday, 5:30. This upcoming Wednesday is Wednesday, October the 9th. Please join us if you'd like. Academy Tavern, 12800 Larchmere Boulevard. Okay? Thank you, Councilman Starr, for passing that. Any other announcements? Councilman Michael Polensek?
They're miscellaneous.
I got you doing Miscellaneous, Miscellaneous, okay? Are there any other announcements? Seeing no other announcements, I'll move to Miscellaneous. I do want to make sure that I acknowledge Councilwoman Rebecca Moore. She has asked for additional time. I'll start out with Councilwoman Moore, who's asked for additional time.
Thank you. I'll see if this doesn't slip down too far. Last time, I think, Councilman Kelly, you were kind to me, but I'm going to grab it. Thank you. Thank you. I rise tonight, along with millions around the world, to mark the anniversary of the October 7th attacks and the year of war that's followed. As many will note, this anniversary comes in the middle of the holiest week in the Jewish calendar. Rosh Hashanah, the new year, was a few days ago, and a few days from now is the somber Yom Kippur. Each year on council, I have risen to talk about Yom Kippur because I have found the idea of a day of atonement all the more moving as I've grown into this new role on city council. But of course, this year is different. I went through many drafts of tonight's remarks, and I ran a draft past a dear friend and Jewish leader who has approached this year with as much wisdom and compassion as anybody I know. Her first comment to me was that finding words is basically impossible. Everything falls short or leaves someone out. The discourse has ensured that trying to say it all means necessarily saying nothing. As my friend told me, nothing that I or anyone else says tonight will capture everything from this past year. But we all do feel something about it, and it is worthwhile to try to name those things and say them aloud, even when we know they will fall short. So here are mine. The first thing I know is that this was a horrible year. 1,200 Israelis horrifically killed on October 7th, hundreds taken hostage, followed by a year of bloody, relentless war that has killed at least 40,000 Palestinians, men, women, and children, killed in the name of Jewish safety. A few weeks ago, I joined a group preparing for this anniversary in the high holidays by recreating an old women's practice called Feldmesten, cemetery measuring. Feldmesten was practiced across Eastern Europe before the Holocaust, at cemeteries in small towns across Russia, Lithuania, and perhaps even the small cemetery in Jadlowa, Poland, where many of my ancestors are buried. Women would gather with a ball of twine and use the twine to measure either the grave of a loved one who had passed or the perimeter of the whole cemetery. While they did so, they would chant Tehenes, a type of Yiddish prayer. The Tehenes, said over and over again, was meant to imbue the twine with its message and prepare it to be used as a knetela, a candle wick. The twine, then dipped in layers of wax, was used to make candles that could be burned at Yom Kippur. Recreating this tradition this year for this Elul felt different. How long could the knetela be? How long a candle wick would be needed? How much would it need to encircle to form a perimeter around our grief and the death brought by this past year? What Tehenes could you say to meet the moment when you feel, as I do, that so much pain and death was done in your name, in the name of your people? The first thing I know is that there are not enough Tehenes and not enough twine to mark this year. The second thing I know is that it was a rare, small blessing this past year to know what the right thing to do was. We are bombarded these days with images from halfway around the world, violence and need beyond what we can comprehend, when we're already facing so much violence and need here in Cleveland. But working with each of you on City Council to pass the ceasefire resolution, that was the right thing to do. And I have a certainty, a quietude in my soul, that it was the right thing to do at the right time with our platform. Thank you. That type of certainty is rare, and I know many who felt heartache over this past year felt it amplified by not knowing what to do or where to go. We all have different roles to play in different lanes, but the questions haunt everybody. Do you share that social media post, or is it too little? Or is not posting it worse? Do you attend this protest or that one? Or what does it mean if you have kids or a parent to look after and can't attend any? What we all ask is enough. For me, these feelings never leave, and they're the same ones I feel facing down our problems here at home. Every day I walk into this building with a thousand problems I want to solve for my community, but I cannot fight each one. And every day as I leave, I wonder, was what I did enough? As I look back on this year, the second thing I know is that it was a rare, small blessing to feel I'm in the right place at the right time, using my platform in the right way. And I try to recognize when it happens, and I wish that feeling, however fleeting or however momentary, for anybody who fights for a better world. The third thing that I know is that I do not know what lies ahead, and I do not know when that next moment of certainty will come. None of us do. The specter of region-wide war in the Middle East is terrifying. The challenges of Cleveland are daunting. But they call these 10 days, the days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the days of awe. They are not the days of certainty or the days of knowing. They are days of in-betweenness. The third thing I know is that I will not try to resolve the cord, to end on a clear note. Instead, I promise, as we look ahead to the next daunting year, to just keep trying.
Thank you. Councilman Michael Polensek.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And it's to follow up on that, it's very important. First of all, I want to congratulate all our brothers in the Jewish community who did celebrate Rosh Hashanah on the 2nd, and also this coming Friday will be Yom Kippur, October 11th. So again, a very holy day. But it reminds me, and it's ironic, I got a call on Rosh Hashanah from a dear friend of mine in the Jewish community. He's very active, prominent businessman. And he was talking to me in the afternoon about what had transpired the previous week with the street takeovers and what the violence we saw in the city. And it's ironic to follow up on Rebecca. He mentioned to me a story out of Israel. And this is the story, and I think it's good for all of us to hear this. There was a Jewish farmer. He had a farm in Israel. And he had a donkey. And someone came and stole his donkey. And the donkey was important for his livelihood, to help him work his farm. And he offered a reward of 100 shekels for the return of his donkey. And several days later, what they refer to as the village idiot, whoever that may be, who was much slicker than a lot of people thought, brought the donkey back to the farmer. And the farmer looked at the donkey, and the donkey had a big gash on his head. And the farmer said, "You're not going to get the 100 shekels because the donkey is damaged, is hurt." And the response was by the gentleman who brought the donkey back, "I needed to get his attention." My brothers and sisters to the administration, we have a piece of legislation that went in tonight, 1080, pertaining to the street takeovers in this city. We all saw it, we all witnessed it, we've seen enough, we've heard enough. At the end of the day, we've got to increase the penalties for this kind of carnage, this kind of stupidity, this kind of ignorance that we've seen in the city. Disregard for police officers, disregard for business people, disregard for visitors, disregard to our neighbors. We got to get their attention, the people who want to perpetrate these acts. When you come in from Columbus, Cincinnati, Akron, what's the other couple of, possibly Michigan. When you come in, what does it say? You have no respect in this city, and you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want because you think you can get away with it. We got to get their attention. The ordinance that went in tonight, 1080, and I want to thank Councilman McCormick for being a co-sponsor along with the council president, is attempting to get their attention, to give our men and women in the police department the tools that they need to say, no, 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 you're not going to do this. So I would ask, we're going to hear the piece, it's going to go through the proper process once it comes back from committee. But once it passes, I hope, starting with the mayor, the state director, and the chief, to get their attention. That they're not going to do this in the city of Cleveland. They're not going to disrespect the mayor. They're not going to disrespect the council president, members of city council, our businesses, our religious folks, all of our neighborhood groups. They're not going to disrespect this. And if you do, there's going to be a penalty to pay. So I'm reminded of that old story out of Israel. You need to get their attention. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I have Councilwoman Spencer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Councilwoman Moore spoke eloquently, and in marking tonight's anniversary, and one of the topics raised is uncertainty, and how do we do our best in moments in this deeply uncertain time. And that does make me think about our upcoming election and the uncertainty around does our democracy have the resilience to survive and then we hope thrive, not only emerging from a difficult period, but becoming stronger. And so I think it is worth noting that this body passed Ordinance 1082-2024 this evening. I know we did not do it unanimously, but I really think it is worth noting that the employees of the city of Cleveland will have a new half-day holiday, I believe starting this year, for Election Day. And we actually had great discussion at the table today, and one thing I thought was the most notable that our colleagues mentioned is, why isn't it a full day? So that was, to me, the biggest question of, a half day is great, let's make it a full day. Why isn't it a national holiday? But I think we are leading the way. I think there are something like 24 states and the District of Columbia that offer paid time off for Election Day, but not all cities do, not all states do, and we are leading the way, and it is so important. And it is not just about having extra time to make sure you have access to the ballot box. As Austin Davis noted at the table, it's about celebrating the act of our sacred duty as citizens and lifting up democracy. Maybe it allows people more time to volunteer at the polls or be a poll worker or take a family member to vote. Whatever that may be, we are lifting each other up and supporting voice for our residents and our employees of the City of Cleveland, and I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Councilman Polinsky has a follow-up.
I just forgot to mention one thing to everyone gathered here tonight. It was announced tonight at Italian Heritage Night tonight in the Rotunda that our council president is going to be the Grand Marshal for the Columbus Parade. The first non-Italian to get that distinction. So on Monday at 12 o'clock, he's the Grand Marshal. Congratulations, Mr. President.
Thank you. Ooh-wee. This is a heck of a job, isn't it? Listen, I know that he went back downstairs to the Italian-American Heritage meeting, and all of you guys are welcome to stop down to Italian-American Heritage Month, but former Council President Kevin Kelly was here, and I think he left to go back down, so want to acknowledge Kev, okay? I just want to just state a couple of things, if I could. Last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of conversation about public comment. I'm going to talk with the staff to see where there are kinks at or whatever we might need to do to improve the process. I'm always for improvement. I do want to make sure that I note every side that doesn't get their people at the mic oftentimes say, well, my folks were excluded. Just so that you can have full disclosure, for the prior 2 weeks, the group that actually came and spoke about the CVS building was upset because they felt that they didn't get any slots or that they couldn't speak. This is a process that we always need to work to continue to improve, but I will tell you that nobody is intentionally trying to push people on or off public comment. If anything, once again, we will talk to the team about improving the process. However, we do need to make sure that we uphold the rules. I also want to make sure that I reiterate to the council as well as to the administration, please always keep decorum in mind whenever you're in these meetings. Our rules dictate that we wear ties and that we dress appropriately. I know I'll give a couple of people a pass because they didn't have a tie in their bag when they came in, but I just want to make sure that everybody acknowledges that we do try to have strict adherence to council rules. That's what keeps us all productive, okay? So please keep that in mind as we move forward. Tomorrow as well, Congresswoman Shontel Brown is doing a rally at the Board of Elections for the first day of early vote. All of you are welcome to attend. She'll be at the Board of Elections from 11 o'clock until 2 o'clock tomorrow for the first day of early vote, okay? That being said, Madam Clerk, please excuse the absences. Thank you, Councilman. Please excuse the absences. No absences. Therefore, this council is adjourned to the next regular meeting on October 4th, 2024. Thank you.